Hello everyone. In today's video lesson, we learn the subject C programming language. So it's a subject introduced for the first year BSc Computer Science students. So in this subject, we have learned about the basics. In the same way, we have learned how the compiler will work and what are the different types of statements available in C language and what are the tokens. So which tells how our C program instructions will be built. Because whenever we learn any language, we learn from the alphabets and we learn how the statements will be formed. So same way, here we are learning the C programming language. So here also we learn alphabets. So alphabets anyway we know. Here we use the English-like sentences and mathematical notations. So in previous video lesson, I have explained different types of statements like expressions, declarations, control statements, and many other. And the next thing is tokens. C statements are built with tokens. That means each statement can be differentiated as a simple token. Either it can be an identifier, an operator, or a constant or string, any one of the tokens. So each statement can be divided into tokens. So in continuation to that, as we need to begin with the programming. So we have learnt the variable. So what is the need of variable? Suppose if I come to your class. So what do? My task is to give a lecture. So what are the things required for me? Chalk and blackboard. So chalk and blackboard are the variables required for me to perform my task. Similarly, when I write a C program for addition of 3 numbers, so I require 3 variables to store the values. 2 variables for getting the values and the other variable to store the results. So simply we can say a variable is the place where you can store the values which you are going to use in your program to perform some task. So for that reason, we have variables. The meaning is the value at that place can be changed. They are varied. Right? So that means we allocate some space in our memory so that it can store the value for that variable and it can retrieve the value for that variable. So we have the variables. So what kind of variables we need and what kind of operations we can perform on variables is to be decided. So for that reason, in today's video lesson, I'm going to explain you about the different data types available in C language, and the other topic which is very much important in your C language is operators. So let's continue. So the data type. So simply I will say a data type is a value which tells that if you have any value which is going to be used in your program, data type tells you that this value belongs to some type. It can store these kind of values and it can perform these kind of operations. That is why we use data type. So simply I have a definition given here. Each variable in C has an associated data type. That means each variable has some type indicated to that. Each variable must be belonging to any one of the data type. So each data type requires different amounts of memory. Different amounts of memory. Each data type requires different amounts of memory. For example, character requires only 1 byte, whereas integer requires 2 bytes, and float requires 4 bytes. And it is also dependent on the machine. It is different from 16-bit machine to 32-bit machine. So each data type requires different amounts of memory and has some specific operations which can be performed over it. So a data type tells about the variable, that is the size of the variable and the operations of the variable which it can perform. So simply you can say a variable is nothing but the name given to some value. A data type tells what kind of value it can store and what kind of operations it can perform. So the variety of data type allow you, the programmer, the variety of data type allow the programmer, that means we, to select appropriate data type, because we must know which data type is required here. For this, we can have an example. Suppose if you want to store the marks cannot be in a decimal part. Either it can be 78, 87, and so on. But whereas percentage, that means average of marks will be in floating point. So whereas the average will be stored in floating point, whereas the marks are stored in integer. So according to the need of the application, you can store your data type. You can select your data type. To satisfy the need of the application, that means according to your application, you can take the appropriate data type as well as the needs of different machines, because different machines have different sizes for each data type. So next, I have just given a variable declaration here so that you can understand. So I have here two variables, A and B. That indicates I am going to use A and B into my program. So the meaning is I am going to use two variables called A and B, which are of type integer. That means it can store only integers. So in the same way, I will have many other kinds of data types. So with this, we'll move further. So the data types are divided into three classes. One is primary data type, derived data type, user-defined data type. So let's see the first data type, primary data type. Primary data type. What is the meaning? Primary means it is already there. It is already there. Where it is there? It is there in C library. So it has their own meaning, their own size, their own range. So the data types which are already there in C library are called primary data type. Whereas coming to the second data type, that is derived data type. Derived data types are nothing but they are derived from primary data type. So they are not existing. They are derived from already existing data type. So both are okay. What's the next? User-defined data type. The name says that the user defines on its own. So it is not belonging to primary or derived. The user defines on its own. So we have three kinds of data types. Let's see into them. First, primary data type. So the primary data type is divided into four. In some textbooks, you will not be finding this data type, that is called void. Void means empty. Empty, no value, no use. The meaning is no. Nothing is stored over there. But at many of the cases, at functions, we use void. But the other three, we have integer. Integers are nothing but the values which we store whole numbers. Whole numbers. So here the integers are divided into two again, signed integer, unsigned integer. Signed integers says we have positive numbers as well as negative numbers. Leftmost bit indicates the sign of the number. Leftmost bit. So it's a new word again. Bit are nothing but zeros and ones are called bits. So whenever your number is shown as bitwise, so the leftmost bit indicates your sign. So the only thing you remember here, your integers can be two types, signed integer or unsigned integer. If it is an unsigned integer, there won't be any sign. All the numbers are positive. So this is integers are divided into two, signed integers and unsigned integers. So unsigned integers are having integer, short int, long int. If you want to store a smallest number, that can be stored at short int. Next size is integer. In next slide, we'll see the size. The next size, if you have highest range of value, you can store it in long integer. Same way, the signed integers are also written like integers, short int, long int. Simply I can say here, short int stores 1 byte, integer stores 2 bytes, whereas long int stores 8 bytes. Let's see what is the meaning of bytes in next slide. So another one, float. So float is nothing but which shows the decimal part. That means it shows the fractional part also. So here also, we have different types of float values. Float, double, long double. One thing we need to understand here, integer is a name, but whereas we are writing it as int, short int, long int. These are all keywords. Keywords are nothing but the predefined words available in C language. So same way for writing the float data type also, we use the keyword called float. Floating point numbers are also written as float. So simply if you have a lesser precision, a 6-digit precision, you will take only the float. If you want more precision, you will go to double. Next precision, you will go to long double. Same way, the other one is a character. So you'll be having a character where it stores only 1 byte of data, only one character. Character is any digit or any symbol which is enclosed in a single quote. So character, it can be signed character or unsigned character. Here also the leftmost bit will be shown as signed. Okay, so let's see next. So these are the values. So here you have to understand the two things, size and the range. This entire table is not required for you. Only you please understand here what is the size and range. Size is the place which occupies in your memory. So here integer or signed integer stores 2 bytes of memory. So ma'am, again it's a new question. What is the byte? It's a new word, right? We have not heard about the byte. So do one thing. I'll just tell you what is the byte. You understand what is GBs, TBs, MBs, KBs. We used to hear these things of GBs. So this is nothing but the size of your memory. So the basic of all your memories are starting with bits. Bit is nothing but either 0 and 1. So you are having a basic digit that is either 0 or 1. So collection of bits makes byte. So 8 bits are nothing but byte, 1 byte. 4 bits makes a nibble. So like that, the integer stores 2 bytes of memory. So whenever you declare a variable like integer, so it stores 2 bytes of memory. That means 16 bits are allocated to integer. 16 bits are allocated to integer. So that means how much data you can store, the range will be, because it is signed integer. You can see here, you are writing it as signed integer. So you can have the numbers before the 0, after the 0. So you can write the values from 0 to 32,767 positive digits, whereas back the negative digits, because you are getting it as 0 into positive. So it is from 0 to 32,767, whereas back it is minus 32,768. So same way, unsigned integers, you don't have negative numbers. So 2 bytes, 16 bits, 16 bits. So 16 bits in 8421 code. Please learn it. Binary system. You will be having 8421 code. That means 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, and so on. Like that, you will be finding 8421 code. That means 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on. So like that, when you have 16 bits, the range will be from 0 to 65,535, because you don't have negative numbers here. All are unsigned. That means all are positive numbers. So the difference is size is the memory where you allocate your data into the memory location, whereas the range is the number of things you can store. Suppose your salary, if you want to store the salary as 75,000, you cannot use this integer, because the range of this value is allowed up to 65,535. So next, you can have short integer when you have a smaller number. So the smaller numbers can be written as one size, 1 byte, 1 byte. So it is signed short integer. So minus 128 to 127. It is unsigned. So it is 0 to 255. Next is the long integer, that is 4 bytes. So it is ranging in this values, and for unsigned, it is only for the positive side. It can store from 0 to this number, right? So next is the floating point numbers. So the float data type is used to store fractional numbers. That means the decimal part is also shown here. So with 6 digits of precision, that means after dot, you can store 6 digits. So the size of the float is 4 bytes. If you want more precision over float, so you use double. If you want more precision over that, so for the 10 size, it takes the 10 size. So next, you use long double. Okay. So remember, these numbers are compulsory for your exam. You need to write these tables. So next, in the last category, character type. So character types are used to store character values. As we have spoken already, anything which is enclosed in a single quote is a character. So it takes only 1 byte, whether it is signed character or unsigned character. So if it is the signed character, it ranges from minus 128 to 127. If it is unsigned character, only the positive numbers, so from 0 to 255. So these are the primary data types. It can hold integer values, float values, character values. The other primary data type is void. As the name indicates, it's an empty data type. Hope you have understood up to this. So next type of data type is derived data type. As the name indicates, it is derived from already existing primary data types. So data types that are derived from fundamental data types, fundamental or primary data types, both are same, are called derived data types. For example, arrays, pointers, functions, structures, and etc. Don't worry, we are going to learn all these concepts in next sections, because these are all making a chapters. So simply I will say an example of an array. An array is a collection of all integers. Suppose if you want to write the marks of one person, one subject, you use integer of marks 1. If you want to write the marks of 100 students, so you cannot write integer marks 1, integer student 1, integer student 2, integer student 3, like that. You cannot declare the variables as from student 1 to student 100. So you can group all the integers, that means marks of all the students, into one place. That is nothing but an array. So an array is a collection of all the similar kinds of data types. It can be a collection of all characters, or it can be collection of all floats, or it can be collection of all integers. So that means it is derived from the primary data type, that is an integer or float or character. So these are called derived data types. So in coming sections, we will be learning pointers, structures, unions, and function types. So next, we'll move further. User-defined data type. So it says it's a new thing. We write for our own self. So here we have two things. One is type definition. So this means it is aliasing of already existing data type. Integer is already there. Suppose if I have a friend whose name is Ramu at school, but I'll call him Kumar at home. So both the Ramu and Kumar, both are same persons. But the definition is changed. So aliasing. Ramu is aliased as Kumar. So the properties and the behaviors of Ramu will not change. Same way, here in user-defined data type, I have the concept called type definition, which aliases of already existing data type. Like it can alias integer, it can alias float, or it can alias character, or double, or long double, or long integer, or any kind of primary data type. So let's see. C supports a feature known as type definition. That means type is defined. That allows users to define an identifier. Identifier is nothing but the name that would represent an existing data type. So using some name, I am aliasing already existing data type. For example, this is the syntax. Type def is the keyword I use for type definition. So this is the data type already existing. I am using an identifier instead of this data type. So I am making type def Ramu as Kumar, because I don't like Ramu. So instead of Ramu, I am using his name as Kumar. But Ramu will be the same person. He will not change. So same way here, the integer will be the same. Instead of integer, I am giving some identifier. So the examples are like this. Type def integer into unit. So instead of int, I am using unit. Instead of float, I am using marks. So I am just type defining a new name to already existing data type. So this is nothing but user definition to already existing data types. So for examples, so this is unit, so is defined as batch 1 and batch 2. So these are nothing but integer data types. So these are nothing but float data types. Right? Next, enumerated data type. So here, till now we know all the grouping, all integer type or all float type or all character type. So here I have a new question. If I have all the colors at one place, so I can group them into a different data type and I can give the name as colors. I can group all the flowers at one place, all the days at one place, and I can give a name as days. All the flowers at one place, so I can give it as name flowers. So this can be achieved using enumeration. For achieving an enumeration, I have a keyword called enum. Using enum keyword, I can define my own variables. That means my own values over there. So this is an example. Enum is the keyword I use, identifier. It can be flowers, it can be months, or it can be days or anything. So depending on that, I will write the values. So these values are my wish. I can group any type of the values into one group. So here identifier is a user defined data type. It's my own data type. It can be flowers, it can be months, it can be days, or it can be anything, which can be used to declare variables that can have one of the values enclosed in a braces. It can have one of the values enclosed in the braces. So example, enum day, where I am grouping Monday to Sunday. So if it is assigned as 0, so obviously the next first value will be Tuesday, second value will be Wednesday, and so on. So like that I can give a numbering. So next topic of today's video lesson is operators. This is one of the token. So next topic of today's video lesson is operators in C. So operators are making some triggers an action. That means it performs an action and which results. So here you can see we have different types of operators: relational, bitwise, conditional, assignment. So I have taken some figure here so that you will be having a basic idea. So let's get into it. First, operators in C language are arithmetic operations. Arithmetic operations we all know from the basic, that is, all are performing an arithmetic expressions. So expressions are nothing but which results. So different arithmetic operators we have are plus, minus, multiplication, division. So here you can see plus is used as addition or unary plus. Minus is for subtraction. This also we know. Whereas instead of multiplication into symbol we use for mathematics, we use star here. Asterisk symbol, we call it as asterisk symbol. And next is the division symbol. So modular division. So here we have two differences: division as well as modular division. Both performs the division. Whereas this division gives quotient. When you divide 11 with 2, the quotient will be 5. The remainder will be 1 because 2 5s are 10. So when you use the division symbol, it gives the quotient, how many times it will go. Whereas when you use the modular division, so it will return the remainder value. So when you divide 11 with 2, you will get the remainder as 1. Okay, so let's go further. Next operators are relational operators, very important operators in C language. When you execute these operators, it results either true or false. Either true or false. The result will be a Boolean value. We call it as Boolean value. Boolean is nothing but true or false. So there are 6 operators available here. So this symbol is called less than, less than or equal to, this is greater than or equal to, that means comparison of two numbers, whether A is equivalent to 10. For comparison, we use this for comparison. So is equal to, and this is an exclamatory mark followed by equal to, which says it is not equal to. If A is not equal to 10, what do we need to do? So using these operators, we'll get the result either true or false. Okay, let's move further. Next operator is logical operators. As the name indicates, it's a logical thing. So from school days, we have learnt that and or not. Hope you all remember. And is used. If both are true, it is true. If true and false, false. False and true, false. False and false, false. Whereas if true or true, true. True or false, true. False or true, true. So based on those principles and or not, logical operators will work. Same thing we use here. So here we call it as logical expressions. These things are also results in true or false. So logical operators are used when more than one condition is tested. So see here, I have two conditions. It is relational operators. Both are relational operators. If A is greater than B, and so it can be true or false, and C is equivalent to 1. So if it is true and true, it results true. If it is true and false, it results false. If it is true and false and true, false. False and false, false. So logical operators are used when more than one condition is tested. They are used to combine more than one relational expression. For that use, we use logical operators. So we'll be having logical and, two ampersands are used and symbols, whereas this is called a pipe symbol. We use it for logical or. This is called a negation symbol, logical not. Zero not. Not zero means 1. Not 1 means 0. So here address and address is a relational operator used to combine. Sorry, it is a logical operator actually. It's a logical operator used to combine two relational expressions, that is A greater than B and C is equivalent to 1. Sorry, this is the logical operator. Okay, so let's move on. Assignment operator. It is just a simple operator which assigns some value to the variable. So the assignment operator is used to assign a value or a result to a data item or a variable, which is used to assign the value. So equal to is an assignment operator. For example, A is equal to 5. That means 5 is assigned to A. Next, bitwise operators. These are also again and or not, works on the principles of and or not. And the other two operators we have here, left shift, right shift. That means the bits are shifted at the left, either one place, two place, three places, or it can be shifted to the right, left or right. So we call it as left shift operator or right shift operator. This is left shift operator and this is right shift operator. This means like this. So bitwise operators are used to manipulate data at a bit level, because C language supports both low level language as well as high level language. So they are used for testing or shifting the bit. So they are used for bit level operations. So simply in logical operator we use two relational expressions, whereas here we use only zeros and ones. The difference is that. Another one, conditional operator is a ternary operator. We have seen that we have three types of operators: unary, binary, ternary. Unary means only one operand, Binary means 2 operands, whereas ternary means 3 operands, 3 expressions. So this is called a ternary operator, also called a conditional operator. So the syntax is x equals to, if expression 1 is true, actually the operator is question mark colon. So it will be used like this. If the expression 1 is true, this statement will be executed. Else, that means if it is false, it goes with second statement. So like this, it will be executed. Next operator, increment and decrement operator. Instead of +1 or -1, we write plus or minus. That means if we write a or a minus, that means a +1. A indicates a +1. A minus means a -1. So the functionality of plus is to add 1 unit to the operand, and minus is to subtract 1 from the operand. For example, plus a, this is called pre-increment. First increment, then do the work. Pre-decrement. So here I have given some examples. First, for the operator plus increment operator. So if I write like this, so this is called pre-increment. So x is increased by 1 because first you have precedence. So associativity is there. So from left to right you go. So first you have to increase. So x is increased by 1. Then use the value of x. So whereas coming to this statement, x plus. So use the current value of x first, then increment x by 1. So similarly, here also decrement x by 1, then use the value of x. Here when you have x minus, use the current value of x. That means post decrement. So first use the value, then decrement by 1. So finally, we have special operators available in C language. That means C provides some other special operators like comma operator and size of operators. So the meaning is, these are used for some special purposes. So comma operator in C, it is used to combine more than one expression or to combine more than one variable. For that we use comma operator. To separate anything, we use comma operator. The other operator is size of operator. It tells the size of the memory location it uses. Suppose if you write size of integer, it returns 2 value. So size of operator is an operator which when used with operand, size of a, suppose. So if the a is of type integer, it returns 2. If the a is of type float, it returns 4. If the a is of type character, it returns 1. Operand, it returns the number of bytes occupied by the operand. Right? I'll just give you a simple example here. Suppose if I have integer a, so, and I have some x also. So if I write x equals to size of a, so it returns 2 bytes. Suppose if I have float of b, and if I write x equals to size of b, so it returns 4 bytes. That means a is of type integer, so a can hold 2 bytes, whereas b is of type float, so it can hold 4 bytes. So it returns 4 to x, whereas it returns 2 to x. Thank you. We'll end up with this. In next video lesson, we'll see the programs regarding these data types, using these data types, tokens, and all the relational operators. so that we can have the basic idea of how we can use these things into our C programming. So hope you have enjoyed today's class. Thank you for watching.